Let's talk about the markets. Quick shout out to our sponsors, PrimeXBT. We love the Prime team. Even when the markets are down, Prime is still crushing it because you can go on there and you can short. You can short commodities. You can short equities. You can short the stock market. You can short, obviously, crypto and altcoins that are all going to zero. You can do all of that over on Prime only if you use my link. You got to use my link. Link is in the description of the video. You guys know the drill. Use that link. Use the code Mayne50 before you deposit your money to get access to that deposit bonus. Then let me know that you've done that and you can get in the free Discord. So shout out to the Prime team. Thank you so much. I'm going to talk about Bitcoin. I'm going to talk about Ethereum. We'll look at the stock market. I'm going to talk about a potentially bullish scenario that I see. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up. I'm not Moon Carl who's going to tell you to long Luna all the way to fucking literal zero. I'm not gonna blow smoke up your ass like that, but there is something on the charts that potentially could be bullish for Bitcoin. So we'll start with that. We'll start on a high, right, with the potentially bullish scenario, and then I'm just gonna beat it down with bearish propaganda because I do still think that we go lower. So the potentially bullish argument here for Bitcoin is that this is just a huge range. Okay, I've seen a few people post about this. There's an S&P fractal I'll show you guys in a moment, but that this is just a huge range. Range low, ran the range high, back to range low, back to range high, back to range low. And then maybe we just fucking straight through your super straight line. Now, do I think that this is going to happen? Personally, no, because I do believe that the stock market is going to get uglier before it gets better. But just like this entire way down, I was one of the few people, I'm not saying I'm the only person, there's a lot of people getting bearish down here. But one thing I always kind of preached on the way down is I said, listen, I'm looking for bullish setups because I want to be a bull. But when we're making bearish market structure, if we're talking about 100K as an upside target, I want to also open up the possibility of 30K and lower as a target because you have to be aware of both scenarios. If you're thinking of, okay, well, where could we go if we go up from here? Okay, but what are the downside objectives? Where is my idea for going up wrong? And where do I target on the downside? Because if you're able to have a line in the sand where you say, okay, like we hold here, I'm targeting here. Okay, well, you need to have a plan if this line doesn't hold, right? Okay, well, if we lose this line, I'm now targeting here. And what this, if this, then that scenario gives you, the up or down bro, which is truly the essence of fucking trading. It's having a scenario for if price goes up, how do you get involved? If price goes down, how do you get involved? And as much as the idiots on Twitter want to go, oh, so up or down bro, listen, I haven't had an up or down bro comment in ages because all of those people are poor now. Funny how that works, because I had a plan for going both directions. They were like, up or down, bro. And now they're like, would you like fries with that? That's where they're at right now, and I'm still here. What it does is it removes an element of fear, because if I know where my idea is wrong and then how I can get involved in the other direction, what are you scared of? One of the biggest issues that people have in trading is they go, okay, well, let's just speak hypothetically here. If we hold here and we put in a higher low, I'm gonna long this to 45K. Let's say that's your long plan. If price doesn't do that, you long here and then it goes down, then you're mad, right? Not only did you get stopped out, but you're like, well, now price is going down and I'm not short. So if you create a situation where you have a plan for both a bullish scenario or a bearish scenario, now there's no fear because I say, okay, well, if we do this, I'm long to here. But if we don't do this and we go down here, okay, well, now I'm going to short. Yeah, I took the L on the long, I'm down 1R, but now I have a short trigger down to here. So what are you scared of? You now have a plan laid out for either scenario. You know what you're gonna do to get long, and if it plays out, execute. If it doesn't play out, the short plan triggers, you execute, and then you don't have that fear of missing out. You don't have that FOMO because you have a plan to get on board and you know where your idea is wrong. That is so key in trading. So I think one of the most frustrating things about, you know, the up or down, like memeing. I get it, it's funny, right? I do it all the time to my friends, but that's such a quintessential part of trading is you want to have a plan for both directions. That way you're prepared and it eliminates emotion. Because if you're trying to get in a long and price is dropping, if you don't know how to get short, maybe you're going to keep longing the dip, or maybe you're going to short and then it's going to bounce and you're going to be pissed. You need to have a plan. You want to eliminate all emotion from your trading system. Ideally, obviously, it's almost impossible to have zero emotion, but you want to be as close to a robot as possible. Having that bi-directional plan is going to work wonders. So just like I still think price could trade lower, I'm going to give you a potential bullish scenario that I'm seeing here. So the potential bullish scenario that I'm seeing is that we're in a big range here, and this is just a test of the range low. and we're actually going to break this out to the range high. The reasons I don't think that this is going to work is because I do believe the stock market is going to go lower, and I don't see Bitcoin making a new all-time high if the stock market is not rallying. Just doesn't seem to me like the stock market is going to rally based on what's going on the macro and the chart itself. So I find it very hard to believe that Bitcoin is going to decouple, even though, you know, oh, stocks went down 4%, Bitcoin only went down 2%, decoupling, insert that fucking oh guy meme. Idiots, okay? Idiots. I've been telling you guys for years, literally, that these two assets are extremely correlated, not always lockstep, but extremely correlated. Bitcoin is a risk asset, so without the stock market turning around, I don't see Bitcoin rallying to new all-time highs. That being said, what we could be seeing here is one of these two scenarios that occurred at the range high play here. Scenario one would be what we have right here. We had this big wick, broke the range high, then we came back into the range, lower high. So what would that look like here? Big wick that broke the range low. We need to now see a bullish move and then a higher low. That would be the play. And then I would look to long this at the very least into here, right? Like 30, I would say 34 to 36K. Big move up. Pull back, higher low, long that to here, take some profit above 34 to 35K, above this candle here, essentially. So maybe we'll just draw this line. It's about 34,000. So something like this, right? I would TP some here because I'm still bearish. This is bearish market structure. This just could be retesting the lows. But if we then break through here, I'm then bullish all the way up to here. So that would be kind of looking like this scenario here. Move up, higher low instead of a lower high, and then a move, take some profit at resistance here, then add back or, you know, hold the rest for a potential break of that 34, 35K area towards 45. That's a potential bullish scenario that could play out here. So even with this bullish scenario, let's say this plays out. So it's the inverse of this, okay? Let's say this plays out. Just because we go up to here, it does not mean that we're going back to all-time high, because this could just be another lower high. But if we're going to put in a move like this, why would I not want to be getting into a long that has a potential to rally 30, 40%? And this is not out of the question. Go look at previous bear markets. We had multiple huge rallies in the bear market. This rally here, almost 100%, 50%. These are big ass rallies. And what happens during these rallies? Well, outside of every idiot on Twitter being like, the bottom is in, we're going back to all-time high, you have an opportunity to make a bunch of money being bullish on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and altcoins would generally have big bounces during this period of time as well, right? So if Bitcoin bounces 50%, imagine what ETH is doing during that time period. Imagine what some altcoins are doing during that time period. So just because we're in bearish market structure and I still think we're going to trade lower, it does not mean that you should ignore the potential for us actually having a bounce, because you could get long on Bitcoin, some altcoins, Ethereum, and make some good money on the long side before potential continuation to the downside. So even if that long scenario plays out, which is kind of like the inverse of this, there's your wick here. We're now looking for a higher low as opposed to a lower high. Bulls still got a lot of work to do before this is possible, but potentially, right? We SFP'd all these lows. We're holding the range low there. Key level for me is going to be that 34, 35K area right here. That's going to be a key area for me. I think above here, there's a shot at 45. So higher low, and then this is going to be the key test. We're able to break through this and get above here. I'm targeting there or close to, or like, you know, any signs of bearishness, obviously puke it, right? Doesn't mean we're going back to all-time high, right? Level to level, above 34, we could have a big old rally towards, you know, 40 plus. So that's something I want to be aware of. Get above here, then we're talking up into, you know, 50, 55K, level to level. And we could literally trade up to here and then still go down. Anything can fucking happen. Just be aware of all the potential scenarios. And as I'm trying to explain, have a plan to get involved. The second kind of setup I'm looking at is just this, right? So instead of this being the reversal, it's more of a this kind of reversal. So we would actually make another low below here and then close back within. So if we do something like this, where this is the initial stab, break that, and then puke, but in this instance, we would break the low and then get bought up, right? The inverse, that would be the other long scenario I'd potentially watch. And then obviously, boom, target 1. If we're able to get above here, target 2. Doesn't mean I think the bull run is back on or anything like that. These are just two kind of high time frame potential long scenarios I wanted to share with you guys that could happen. I don't think there's any reason to be bullish on much higher prices until we reclaim this level and these lows here. So until we're back above 34 to 35K, I think any bounce, your first guess is to look for shorts, right? If we go above here and then back below, absolutely short the shit out of it. But I would love to see some sort of relief here. And then if either of these two types of scenarios play out, this is going to be the battleground, in my opinion, for the bulls. Above that 34 to 35K area, then we can talk about getting back towards 40 and beyond. But until then, I do think we probably trade to, unless something happens and we get above there, I do think we probably trade at least to like 25, take out this low, and then maybe 20, I don't know, 21, maybe 20K gets front run. But I do think another leg down is coming. Like, gun to my head is we see something like this. But I don't know. I think another leg down is still likely, but we are at that range low. It's an area of potential support. The first sign of bullishness is that SFP. Let's see what kind of price action can build here on the intraday. So the bullish potential scenarios are effectively two inverses of these. This is your key level here to get bullish above. Any sort of rejection before here or deviation of that level, I'm looking to short, right? Like come up here, break below. I'm looking to short this, right? Target 1, target 2. Target 3 would be down here. That would be the bearish setup. Plan for each, right? Right now, looking for bullish PA on the low time frame. We come up and then get bearish PA on the low time frame, I'm shorting, right? If we get above 34, 35, I'm looking to long probably to 40 at least. Right now, the argument for the bulls I explained, right, is this high time frame range low. So if we zoom in here, what I'm looking at basically is saying, okay, we've got this big move down, a high, a higher low, a higher high, and we're potentially putting in some bullish market structure down here. Where would that be confirmed? Obviously, it has to make a higher high from here. So I didn't love how we broke below this low, and I actually closed the longs I had open when we broke below this low. But if you zoom in here, we actually had a really nice reclaim setup. So we have our key high time frame level, and then we have this 12-hour low. We broke below it, right back above. This is like, if you ever hear someone talk about an over-under or a Quasimodo, this is exactly what they're talking about. We have a key level, right? Traded below the level, lower low, boom, higher level, clean reclaim. This would have been a nice long, entering on this pullback into this 1 hour order block. Stop down here, target at least to here. Target 2 would be these highs up here. That would have been a nice trade. I didn't get in that personally, but that's like a perfect example of a Quasimodo or an over under. You have your key high time frame level, right? And we basically traded below, reclaim. That's your long entry is the reclaim, and your stop goes below the kind of false break to the downside. That, right? This is a Quasimodo, an over under. This is a very common price action term. I'm sure you've heard on Twitter if you're into that kind of trading. This is what it looks like. So I didn't get in that long personally, but the reason I said, hey, I'm potentially leaning bullish down here is I said, okay, the 12-hour, it's in a range, but we do have some potential bullish PA forming right now. So if I'm looking at the 12-hour chart, the last low and high are these two. So I'll mark those out. So what the bulls need to do, right? We're just ranging between these two levels right now. What the bulls need to do is break above here. If we're able to get above here, I'll be looking to long a pullback towards this 34 level here. So this level here is about 31,500. So if we're able to make a higher high here, I'd be interested in getting long towards 34. Let's assume we break this range to downside. Let's say this is the top, and then we put in a low here, a lower low below that previous range low. I'm then going to be looking to sell a retracement within this range. I want to get up into the premium, the upper part of the range, for another leg down. So right now, technically this range is bullish. So I'm waiting to see, are we going to break to the upside? And if we do, that's our low. Let's say we break above this high and make a high above here. I'm then going to be looking to long the pullback, right? And then target 1 would be the range high. Target 2 would be this 34K level. So that's kind of what I'm waiting to see. I want price to develop. There's not enough PA here for me yet. Right now, this is the range that I'm watching, and I want to see if we can break out of it. I need to see a higher high get made because I missed the long at the lows. What do you want to do within a range? I want to look for shorts near the top or reasons to be bearish, and I want to look for longs near the lows and reasons to be bullish. I missed the long, which was the over under, that occurred in the bottom part of the range. I missed it, but that was the long trigger down there. So for me, there is no long scenario until we're above here. Because if we break out, now I have a new long trigger because I'm gonna have a new range. But if we fail, right, we're in the upper 1/3 of the range. If we fail to break out here and we sell off, then I'm gonna be looking to short the next pullback. So I know that sounds confusing and indecisive, and it's like, okay, well, are you long or short right now? I'm neither. I'm not in a trade. I'm just watching. I want to see more PA develop. I want to see these next couple candles close over the next couple of days. I'm going to be in Vegas. I'm going to be EDC. I'm going to be probably doing illicit substances with the homies. So I'm probably not going to be paying attention. But if I were you, I'd be watching this range here and see how it develops over the next couple of days. And when I'm back on Monday, I'll do another video and I'll update you guys. But right now, I do not have a setup where we're trading right now. There's no trade for me, and I'm totally fine with that. I do not need to always be in a trade. One thing I could see for the bears here is if we're able to SFP this. So if we trade up and then SFP, then I would go on the low time frame and probably look for a short back into the range low. But otherwise, there's no trade for me here right now. I'm just chilling. I'm not taking a trade. There's not always gonna be a trade, right? And you have to be okay with that. I see a lot of people losing their mind trying to guess if this is gonna break up or down. And it's like, dude, we're in a 10% range after a huge sell-off. You don't immediately need to be jumping into a trade. And this goes back to the rant I had at the start of the video where it's like, you know, you want to get long and then price rolls over. You have that FOMO. You want to jump into a trade right away because you're like, well, I missed out on that. I need to get on board. Don't do that. Have a plan and then execute when one of the triggers of your plans play out. And in the time in between those things happening, you just sit on your hands and wait. You don't always need to be in a trade, and you're not going to feel that constant need to be in a trade if you have a plan. So I just gave you my plan. Hopefully it makes sense. All right, let's look at Ethereum. So Ethereum, same big ass motherfucking range. One difference here, right? You have to realize both of these have put in major structural lows here, or lower lows, right? Right? That's a major lower low here. So our initial instinct is to sell pullbacks, right? For a lower high. However high that lower high may be, we don't know yet, but that's your initial plan, okay? Ethereum has done the same. Now, what Ethereum hasn't done that Bitcoin has done is Bitcoin has now run all of these summer lows here. Ethereum, you could argue, is lagging or slightly stronger, but Ethereum BTC looks ready to roll over. Like, you know, we came up here, rejected. We're back at the mid-range after putting in a clear lower high. So if this is going to roll over, right, if this sells off and we take out this low, we'll likely see if price goes down further, Ethereum drop harder than Bitcoin, right? That's what this represents, the relative strength of those two assets. So that's something to watch on Ethereum. But right now, because this has been holding a slight uptrend, right? This is kind of in an uptrend, sorta. You know, I do think this breaks. You can see Ethereum hasn't sold off as far as Bitcoin here. To me, the obvious downside target for Ethereum, even if we get a bounce first, right, is these lows here. So below 1755, below this wick, running all those lows. That seems like the obvious target. The equivalent level I have for Bitcoin's 34,200 level is this level on Ethereum. So 2140. That's going to be the level I want to see Ethereum get above. We've got some resistance above here. Just like on Bitcoin, we're in a range right now. I need to see Ethereum get above 2140 before I'm interested in seeing it, you know, potentially trade up to 24 to 2500. This is kind of that 34K level. So this level here is actually much closer on Ethereum. Why is that? Well, Bitcoin is sold off further. Bitcoin ran those lows. Ethereum hasn't yet. So 2140 seems like a pretty key area to watch on Ethereum, in my opinion. If we get any sort of move above this range and then back below, I'm looking to short this down into here. Get above 2140, just like on Bitcoin, I have the long plan on getting above that level. Then I'm interested in potentially longing this up into here, right? We do have a fair value gap here from this low to here that could get poked. Maybe we poke it and then we deviate. I don't know. But if we're able to consolidate and hold above 2140, then I'm potentially interested in longing Ethereum. Not interested in longing where we are right now. Just like on Bitcoin, the setup here that I didn't trade, right, was the break below the low. Zoom in, you're going to see the exact same over-under setup right here, right? Below, higher low, into the order block. Even give you a retest after the reclaim. Boom. So this is a very common pattern, and you could see this happen all the time in price. It could happen here, right? That's what this is. This pattern happens all the time. This is the type of entry pattern. You know how I gave you guys my breaker entries, my order block entries, the Quasimodo. You can learn to spot this at key areas. This can be an entire strategy because it's very clear. Broke the low, got back above, test the order block. Your risk is that low. That's your entry. Target, boom. This happens all the time in price. Here's a Quasimodo. Not as obvious, right? But there's your high. Broke above, rejected, came back, slightly lower high, sold off. This was the top on Bitcoin. Not as clean as the one I just showed you, but that's exactly it. There's your high, over, back under, over, under, Quasimodo. That's it right there. So this is a very common repeating pattern that is good to trade at reversals. It occurs at tops and bottoms generally, and if you can learn to spot that, you can get tons of setups. So that hourly Quasimodo, that over under here that occurred after breaking the low and then reclaiming it, that was a setup. But again, just like Bitcoin, I'm not interested in longing Ethereum here. I'd rather wait and see what happens. You know, we're just put in an SFP here. No trade for me right now on either of these. I'd just be watching, right? So I don't know if this is going to play out, but same with Ethereum. This is not a long for me right now. You know, the range here that I'd be watching, I guess, is probably this low to this high. But just like Bitcoin, it needs to put in a higher high. That higher high coincides with our key level. So no trade. Any sort of SFP deviation up here, I'm shorting. Get above here and hold. I'm interested in longing. Obviously, if we make a lower low here, right, if this just rolls over, and we break this low, I'm looking to sell a pullback for the next leg. That whole like this being a big range and us rallying from here, the fractal that people were pointing out was this one. So some people are saying this is Bitcoin right now. So here's like, you know, 60K. This would be like, you know, 69K. This is where we are right now. That's the fractal I've been seeing some people post, comparing this to like Bitcoin on probably the weekly chart. That's the fractal, right? Is this. So you would grab this tool, right? And then we would copy this, paste it over here. This is what some people are thinking. I see the fractal. I'm like, okay, it's possible for sure that you have a double top and then a parabolic rally out. Based on what's going on in the world right now, this needs to happen to the stock market too. The stock market needs to fucking recover if this is gonna happen on Bitcoin. And so until I see evidence of that happening, I just don't see this being likely. But if this does play out, there's gonna be plenty of time to get long. So I'm not really worried if I don't long here and catch the Pico bottom. If we're going to make a new all-time high, I don't care if I miss the first 20% of the move. I don't care. But this chart, the stock market itself, has a lot of work to do before I would get bullish on it. I think you have to look at this thing and say, okay, this looks bearish as fuck. Like, this doesn't look bullish. This reminds me of like this kind of PA here, where we were going up super hard and then this finally topped here. Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, low low, finally a nuke. This is a downtrend. So until this turns around, yeah, you could say, oh, we're into support here, but we're into support here. We bounced and we sold off again. So I would just wait and see. Like, I would really want to see this chart turn around before I start trying to think that Bitcoin's just going to march back to all-time high. But, you know, maybe this gets some relief, lines up with Bitcoin getting some relief. But to me, this looks like it's still got room to sell off. What platform do I use? I use PrimeXBT, the sponsor of this video, and I suggest you use them as well by clicking the link in the description and using code Mayne50. Please, I'm hungry. I need the money. Help me. I'm gonna be honest with you. My mind, my body, my soul, my wallet, my cryptocurrency portfolio, all hurting right now. And that's gonna be me, a 31-year-old man wearing anime clothes to a rave. I gotta pack. It's almost 9 o'clock here, and I haven't packed at all. I haven't even unpacked from my last trip. So I like to travel a lot, and COVID was a real bummer for that, obviously, and all the people that died. That was also terrible. You know, Elon Musk, call me if you need help with the rocket engine. I've missed you, man. I missed you too, bro, and I don't even know you. I understood about half that sentence, and I'm gonna say yes, I agree. I can't tell if you're trying to make fun of me or not, but I'm just gonna say fuck you. That's such a quintessential part. I don't even know if that's how you use the word quintessential. Quintessential oils. I don't get it. Up or down, bro. Funny. Ban this man from the chat immediately. Listen, I haven't had an up or down, bro comment in ages because all of those people are poor now. They were like, up or down, bro. And now they're like, would you like fries with that? I'm like Drake. I'm out here looking for revenge. How do you know if a level is reclaimed? You ask it nicely. You sound like a trader. I am a trader. I'm Trader Mayne, actually. Just thought you should know that. It's fucking hot in here. I don't know, like, is the heat on? What's going on? I live alone. I'm not talking to anyone. Fuck you. You're not done. It's lying. Believe me. What the fuck is going on? Do you guys not like me? Because you know I'm bringing the bangers. I'm bringing the bangers. Banger. You specifically, my friend, we're gonna need to get way above the gay line. We've got the gay line here, right? Everyone knows the infamous gay line. This is the bi-curious line. You don't know. Maybe you're gay. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're into dudes and chicks. Who fucking knows? And this is the you are straight as an arrow. You're so straight that other guys are into you because you are that straight and that masculine, that you emasculate other men. Your girlfriend, she's gonna call you back. She's gonna be like, baby, take me back, please. Please take me back. I heard you're rich again. And you're gonna say, shut up, bitch, no. You're gonna hang up on her because you're gonna get so many new girlfriends, you won't even remember her name. If by different you mean shittier, then yes, I agree. This guy just says I cheat like a motherfucker, and that is not nice. I hope your girlfriend's not watching, bro. Your girlfriend was always gay, bro. She's just experimenting with you, and she's gonna find out she doesn't like cock. She actually likes box. It's over. I don't think so. As Gary Vee would say, you're young as fuck. You got your entire life ahead of you. So much time. You just need to grind. Eat shit and grind. Maybe have sex with women. That might help. That's what Gary Vee would say. None of this is financial advice, obviously. He said the swearing was unnecessary. And I'll have you know, the swearing is absolutely fucking necessary. I've never read a book. I don't even recommend reading in general. I think you should watch more TikTok and masturbate more often. Who has time to read? What's your favorite way to do cocaine? What an aggressive and inappropriate question, but I will answer. Probably off of your mother's titties. Picture that. And it drives me nuts. Pasty as a piece of paper. Literally the same color as the milk in your fridge. That is a bold take, Cotton. Let's see how it turns out for him. How do you set up a stop loss on shorts? The same way you set up a stop loss on longs, but the opposite.